Everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the story of how a $300 bench started to cause me some problems. So I run my own little woodworking business here, as you guys might know, in Central Alberta, and this client was a custom order. I did not see this bench coming, but it was for a bench 5 feet long by 2 feet wide. So this was going to be a very big bench. And during this time, I did not have very much dry wood around. I had only 2 pieces that would work, and I needed 2 pieces to build this thing. I had very little error room, so I had to try to make it work. And I had to try to also make like my own tracks off fence and stuff like that. This was just poplar that I was using, just rough sawn poplar from that I'd done myself, but the one piece of wood was way thicker than the other, and so that meant I had to do a lot of planing to get them both the same size. But later on, I ran into an issue with that. To make the fence, all I used was just a straight board and some clamps. It actually worked pretty well, and got pretty straight cuts out of it. Actually, I was quite impressed with how well it worked. I thought, oh, this might be, kind of bad and not work out, and then I'll have to restart and all that, but yeah, it actually worked out very well, which that was at least good. And this bench just had one side. The customer just wanted one side live edge, so that meant that just going to be square, and yeah, one side was going to be live edge. But then after we got all that done, we still needed to do more planing, but then this is where things went wrong. My entire planer just broke, like the belt broke, or the belt wasn't staying on, and I played around with it for a couple hours and couldn't get it to work. So then that meant that I had to hand plane this thing with the Power Makita hand planer, which did not go as good, because this hand plane, it was extremely hard to do that with the Makita hand planer and get it all straight. It wasn't perfectly straight, and so during the glue up I had to biscuit joint this, because there was two big pieces. I had to biscuit joint. This glue up went I almost couldn't save this glue up. It was not working out, and I only had 4 pipe clamps, and as you can see here, from the video, it wasn't perfectly straight, or it did have a little bit of cupping, but I was able to get that out of it. But then, so luckily I salvaged the glue up, so it wasn't totally lost, because yeah, these were the only 2 pieces I had, right? So if I lost these, I would have had to wait maybe another couple months for more pieces to dry, or go buy some, which would cost me a lot more money and time, and I didn't want to have to have any problems with the customer either, right? But thankfully that glue up did work out in the end, and we were able to cut it to size, and I just started sanding. I had a lot of sanding to do with the orbital sander, just because that's one of the downfalls with using the power hand plane, is those power hand planes are nice, but as you guys might know, it is very, very, very hard to get the passes completely to line up evenly and all that. So then yeah, I then started on building the legs for this. This was just a very simple design, basically just 2 boxes, connected with runners and a shelf put in there as well. That shelf was there to cause a lot of or cause more stability, which was going to be nice. And yeah, but the problems weren't done yet. I had quite a big problem yet to come, and I did not see that totally coming. But yeah, so I just kept trucking along here with this little the legs. But the biggest thing I wanted to do with the legs is my traditional way to do the shelf is to do slats, but that would be a lot harder to paint. So I wanted just one piece to sit on there for the shelf, which that meant I was gonna have to do some digging around in my pile. I had this massive pile of wood. This was all spruce, but that was what I was gonna use for the bottom, and I had to do some real good digging down there. But just making it one piece on the bottom for the shelf was just gonna make it that much better for painting. So that was why I did that and put in all this effort to get one nice piece of wood. However, once I started putting this piece in and mounting it in there, the entire thing was just wonky. It put a big twist in there, and that's because that board was all twisted, and of course my planer was busted, and I didn't want to have to power plane because I'm not too good at that. So what I decided to do was put in plywood instead for the shelf, which I was a little bit nervous about that, just because I didn't want it looking too bad. But then in the end, it actually I was able to sand down the plywood actually quite a bit, and you could hardly even tell that it was plywood on the bottom. That's just one of the reasons I didn't want to use it. But then I put some paint on there, and that was the finished product, and I ended up selling this for $300, and the customer was pretty happy, so I'm glad for that. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.